What's it like living as a female expat in Asia? Is it safe? Would I be lonely? How do I make new friends? Can I bring my pet with me? If I come in a partnership, do I run the risk of losing my marriage to, let's say, a local girl? And if I want to date, how does that work? What happens if I get really sick? Or what happens to my body if I die and I'm living overseas? If any of those questions are interesting to you, fantastic. You are in the right space. My name is Wendy, and for more than 3 decades, I have lived and worked in 5 different countries in Asia. And I still live and work in Asia, now in Thailand, for more than 10 years. And this is a place where we can talk about the expatriate experience for women, because there's loads of videos out there about guys being expats. But I think it's time we started to talk about women, particularly women of a certain age, and what it's like for them to be expatriate. I thought we'd talk today about the dating scene. Before you laugh, I'm going to break it down into 4 main categories. Firstly, I want to say though, if your idea of dating, if that's what you're talking about, is hooking up with someone at a full moon party, well, that's not the video for you. Okay, that's another video, because there's no problems there. If you're hot and fit and 26 and you're looking to shag some person, well, off you go. This isn't your video. But if you're like me, over 50, well, yeah, there's lots of things you have to think about. So let's look at these 4 categories. Now, if you're living in a country like Singapore or a place like Hong Kong or Shanghai or even Bangkok, your company sent you there as an expat, you're an executive, well, your chances of meeting someone are probably not all that different to your home country, because effectively you're working and living amongst like-minded people as yourself. It may be a smaller pool, depending on what you're looking for, but it's probably no different to, you going on Tinder in your home country or somebody introducing you to someone that they know. Your chances there are probably not too bad. But remember, that old thing about having to kiss a lot of frogs to meet a prince, well, perhaps there's less frogs in the pond that you're going to be in, but still your chances are okay. What about though, if you are a single woman over the age of, let's say, 45 or 50, and you've retired early or you're digi-nomad? How does the dating scene work then? Ladies, I've got to be honest with you. Anecdotally and in my experience, if you are looking to form a partnership with someone and you're living in Asia and you're looking for, fresh new meat, this is probably not your place. And I don't mean that with any judgment at all. It's just the truth is that the guys who have moved here in retirement towns, like the place that I'm living in now, or other parts of Asia like that, they've moved away from their home country because perhaps they're no longer interested in the women of their home country. And so they've gone somewhere else to a different field. The chances of you meeting someone are not impossible. I'm not saying that you won't meet somebody, but it's very, very slim. Again, no judgment. Nothing on this channel is about judgment, but you have to be realistic. If you're really interested in forming a long-term relationship with another expat guy and you're over 50, Asia is probably not your spot. Now, in another video, we'll talk about this idea of expatriate communities being the home of broken toys. That's for another chat. And I'm not saying that the guys are not good, but perhaps you're just not their target market. However, having said that, if you're one of our sisters in the LGBTQ community, your chances are surprisingly good. If you are living in a country where the LGBTQ doesn't have any kind of restrictions, I'm not talking about Indonesia necessarily, so just watch that one, or Terengganu in Malaysia, but places like KL or Tokyo or Thailand, any of the bigger cities, even in the Philippines, the LGBTQ community for women is actually really strong. And I know loads of ladies who found the love of their lives in communities like this, either culturally the same as you or not culturally the same as you, multicultural relationships. That one's not too much of a stretch. If that's you, your chances are much better than the category that we were talking about earlier. The other category that is out there, which is not often spoken about but does exist, is the idea of a multicultural relationship where the expat is the woman and the local is the man. So an expatriate woman hooking up with a local guy. And I've got lots of friends who are in amazing relationships with local guys, with Asian guys. And it's fantastic. They live a long time. But I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day who's been in a 20-year relationship with a local guy. And I said to her, what do you think it is? Like 1 in 20? Is that the situation? And she looked at me and she said, 1 in 50. Now, the reason for that is very complex. One of the problems could be communication. Another part is cultural. Some of it's to do with how his family feel. Sometimes that's not as looked on as happily as you might have thought. But there's lots of reasons why that doesn't work. A lot of people that I've met who are in those great relationships, they meet when they're a bit younger and perhaps she's fallen in love with her Muay Thai trainer, and why not? Because they're hot and fit. Or she's met some guy through work, and that works out absolutely fine. But those statistics are still pretty small. Not impossible, none of it's impossible, but still pretty small. So all of the stuff that I've presented here is kind of anecdotal. There's not a lot of science in it, but this is the reality. If you're looking to date and you're coming to Asia to be an expat, you've retired, or you're going to cut back on work, or like I said, you're a digi-nomad, you're a single independent woman, but you might fancy to have a longer term relationship, you need to think about that. If that's a high priority for you, you're probably not going to find the love of your life here. It's not that there aren't frogs to kiss and princes to find, it's just that there's a much, much smaller pool. Something for you to think about. Now, another topic that we're going to talk about in another video is how we feel as expat women about the older guys that we see who are with much younger ladies. That video will be coming up next. If you're interested in that, press on the tag that comes up soon, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.